I'll check it real quick. All right, we should be good. All right, we should be good. Come on. All right. Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechak, Wadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to Joachim out there, 144,000, who pushing his word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as so you believers out there who believe in on the gospel. And there's a couple brothers, from the Great Millstone Houston Church. I'm the brother Korah Abad.
Brother Taza Pa.
And we got the elder Taza Pa. And again, as our custom is every Thursday, the Lord blessed this camp to weekly update on the news. And Shalom to Akim was Aquarium, Shalom Elder Tazari, Habashima Shabrakata, and the other Akim Akwath.
Shalom.
But you know what, when as the Lord have it, every week, every Thursday we come update on the news. And indeed it's something to talk about really every day, man. Which that's why the Lord had a body, different brothers bringing up news daily, but as we see, it's still hot in the earth, a lot still going on. You got over there in, as they will call it, the Middle East, right? In Israel, things still hot. Gaza still hot. Ukraine coming back up in the news. Other countries still want to join BRICS. The dollar still collapsing, so on and so forth, man. So we right here at the brink of all things, as they say, all hell breaking loose, which is an exciting time for us, because this is what we're waiting on, man. This is what we're waiting on. We ain't waiting on these things to start for the Lord to put them in the making. Everything is already set. We ain't waiting on the missile to get made. No, they already in the silos, man. We ain't waiting on a MOTB to get built and created. It's already here in people's bodies, And so we'll hop into it. And Elder Taza Pop, if you got anything, you got it.
I know. Go ahead. We good.
Con. Matter of fact, I get a quick precept. This is in the book of Judith, speaking on how everything ready already. This is Judith chapter 9 and verse 5. Now she talking about the Most High. Judith 9 and 5, it says, "For thou hast wrought not only those things, but also the things which fell out before and which ensued after." In other words, saying the Most High did everything. It says, "Thou hast thought upon the things which are now and which are to come." Yeah, what things? And what's those things? Prophecies, man. It says, yeah, what things thou didst determine were ready at hand. Come on, man. So the prophecy is ready. And it says, "And said, Lo, we are here, for all thy ways are prepared, and thy judgments are in thy foreknowledge," man. So look, the prophets is even telling the people, we here, and we watching it, man, daily. And that's why this news is exciting to us. You know how people in this world get excited off sports, NFL, NBA. Well, watching these prophets come to pass, that's what excites us, man. And as you see today, we'll touch on two segments. It says martial law coming to America in 2024 with a question mark, because again, these things going to lead to just that. And also it says when the lights go out, because we can't forget about that power outage. I know all these other things been in the news, but that's going to creep up on these people, man. When the lights go out, when we got a video, we're going to play a guy kind of going into details on what might take place when what the lights going out, everything that it can affect, because it ain't just going to affect you walking in your room and you can't see. It's going to affect a whole lot of other things that people need to survive. You see, but you got us acquiring.
Yeah, we had our beta test here in Texas, pretty much damn near most of Texas, back in 2021. All right, as soon as Biden got in office, and we had a cold snap, and conveniently, power went out all throughout Texas. and people lost their mind. So they got all this data, and they know how it's going to run. There's been blackouts, rolling blackouts all across America, and they got the data, and they know, how it's going to affect people. You had a number of people here in Texas die, okay? And we could very well see another winter like that coming, this year, because winter hadn't got started yet. We know it's cold in certain parts of the country, but the winter don't come in till later this month. Mm-hmm. How Joe Biden put it, that dark winter, we just might see that. All right, but yeah, brother.
That's right. So we'll hop into it, and again, Lord willing, this be edifying. So we'll go ahead and pull up these articles. Now we got two honorable mentions we're gonna want to mention before we hop into the actual news. Now this came out yesterday from LedgerInsights.com. As we know, again, we can't forget about the talks with the digital currency. So it says central banks of Italy and Korea to collaborate on a CBDC. And I thought it was just something to mention because we know Italy is a part of what? NATO and the EU, a part of the beast system, man. Right? And that's one thing that if you paying attention, you've been seeing American allies working deals with people that America usually don't even fool with, man. You have a lot of American allies, whether from the EU or NATO, they secretly want to get down with that BRICS deal. That's right in Obadiah when it says secretly they go act like they're on your side, but plan to deceive you, man. So I read it just a little bit of it. We ain't gonna get all into it. Like I said, just an honorable mention.
Yeah, I can bring out Obadiah whenever you're ready.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Okay, you want to go ahead and bring it out?
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Matter of fact, let me read a little bit of it. Because again, remember, Italy is a part of the beast. Right? So it says today, the Bank of Italy and the Bank of Korea announced a memorandum. Let me blow it up, son. Announced a memorandum of understanding to share knowledge on technologies that support real-time gross settlement, or RTGS. It says systems and central bank digital currency. When it comes to CBDC, the two central banks have quite different paths. While the Bank of Korea has conducted retail CBDC trials, which is retail CBDC is when the average American or citizen, should I say, since Korea, the average citizen, everywhere you go, no matter what shop or store, convenience store, restaurant you go into, this will be the way to do things. And it says its current focus is issuance of a wholesale CBDC to support tokenized bank deposits. And the wholesale CBDC is that the bank's going to use. But it goes, I'm going to jump to this part because this will kind of spark my interest. It says on the retail front, Italy is part of the European Central Bank's ECB. So look, it's a part of the EU central banks, a little group that they got, a part of the beast. It says retail CBDC trials. And with the ECB's decision to move on to the preparation phase, it looks likely that Europe will be one of the first major economies after China to launch a retail CBDC. Now, the point is when you look at China, they ready closer than anybody ready to launch. And it says Europe next. And as we go playing one of these videos, it said when a dollar collapse, look, that's done for the B system, man. So if China on the verge and it says Europe next, where you think America at? Following right behind, man. So that's how close we are to these things. And now, mind you, this is American allies doing deals or collaborating with other countries. So we'll see how that play out. But you got us, Aquan.
Yeah, in Obadiah, the 7th verse, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. All right. So it's speaking about the men of the confederacy of Esau, Edom, because he has control of the world. Job 9:24. So he's done business with all the nations of the world. And they had to be cool with him because he was in power. And then the brother got a video where I forget the guy's name. I don't know if the brother's gonna play it, but I don't know if you're gonna play that part. But it's saying like nobody really feel the need to go to war with America because they see America in decline.
That's right.
They see that this place is falling apart at the seams. So they're just letting this place collapse. But of course, the Most High is going to force Esau and America's hand to where these nations going, they will have to retaliate on America, all right, via thermonuclear conflict, all right, because just for the sake of YouTube, let's say conflict. So again, Obadiah the 7th verse, it says, all the men of thy confederacy. A confederacy means people that you're in league with, or nations, countries, whatever. These are people that did business with Esau, Edom, with America. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border of their destruction, to the border of conflict. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. And all these nations that privately plotting. This is why the BRICS came into fruition. That was these other nations. And Esau is at the, you got the other Edomites, Russia, on the ground floor of BRICS. All right, that's the R in the BRICS. BRICS is the acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. But now you got a host of other countries looking to get in. What, they just let 5 countries in? Mm-hmm. And you got still more countries on top of that 5 looking to join BRICS. Why? To escape from America, from the Ibatyat that the world reserve currency is putting the world in. Now, I said Abatyat, that's a Hebrew word that you'll find in the Apostle Tahar just went into that, but you'll find that in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. I believe that's Habakkuk, but I can get it. And it speaks about, matter of fact, I go ahead and bring that out for me.
Yeah, I grab it for you. I get the blue letter too.
Con.
And this is Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. There we go.
Yeah, what is that, 8 verse? But you can start wherever.
All right, cool. I'll get straight to the point. This Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6. I read it first. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Now you see right there where it says, read that again, Doc?
Yeah, that's on point. That's right on point with Obadiah.
Right.
2 and 6, it says, shall not all these.
Shall not all these. And again, Obadiah, the 7th verse, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. So go ahead, Doc.
Habakkuk 2 and 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? Right.
Oh, well, I mean, he's doing that now. Again, he's been doing it since he came into power, but he's doing it now by means of cyberspace in the cyber world, digitally. All right. He didn't took everything in the natural world. Now he wants to put everybody into cyberspace to where he can sit as God. All right. And he can have complete control. See, CBDC will give him complete control of your finances, what you buy, what you purchase, everything that you do. And that's just on one facet. All right. But then you have the financial, then you're going to have the medical, and then you're going to have your own personal identification and everything. As Klaus Schwab stated, You will own nothing and be happy. All right. That's him increasing that which is not his. What the fuck you mean? I will own nothing. That means you're going to take from me. Because the Lord gave every nation on this earth their own plot of land. So what you mean? That we will own nothing and be happy? Because this devil is looking to increase that which is not his. But you got it out.
That's right. It says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
And that thick clay, the brother gonna pull it up. Go ahead, Ike, you got it.
Khan is H5671 Ibatyat.
Mm-hmm.
And as the other was going into right here, it says weight of pleasures, but this the point. Heavy debts.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Heavy debt. It would say a weight of pledges. And that's what this devil, he gets you to pledge unwittingly, and then you caught in that snare. All right. His money system is a big snare. And now with this CBDC, that's the biggest snare of all. At least we had a little bit of leeway with the paper currency, even though it was Batyat, it was heavy debt attached to every dollar that's issued because it's printed beyond its value. So in essence, it becomes devalued. And so people are basically walking around with devalued currency in their pockets, bank accounts, and whatever. Their 401ks, their pensions. They got all of this devalued currency that they think is worth something, but it's actually debt. And so if you had anything else, brother, if not, I'll finish out in Obadiah.
Khan, you got it.
So this lines up with why these people are plotting against this devil, all right, because they see the destruction, well, the financial ruin that's coming to this into the whole world. So again, Obadiah 7 verse, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. All right. So yeah, brother, you got it.
Khan. Baba Kashah, can I read that in NLT if you don't mind?
Yeah.
And Shema, when I see you put it, but I had it before you, but Shalom. This Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7. This is an NLT. It says, all your allies, talking about who allies? Esau, Edom, man, mainly America. But it says, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. It's the point. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you, man. So we can see in the news, oh, well, you know, Turkey, they squashed things and, they got off Israel back and they back cool. America ain't got a problem with this country no more. But look, they promising you peace, but at the end of the day, they doing backdoor deals with Russia, right? China.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Gone.
Yep, telling Biden what he want to hear and so on and so forth, man. But it says they will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends, those who are part of the beast, some of those are NATO and the EU, your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. Come on, man. They're probably giving Putin all the information. China and Putin all the information. Ain't telling America nothing, man. But I just, just want to touch on that real quick. This is another one. I know people have been seeing. So that first article we touched on, we see American allies, which we can get still going through the honorable mention articles. But American allies, look, they doing cross deals with other countries, man. But this other one, I know brothers been seeing in the news lately, how China want to build advanced humanoid bots by 2025. And the first thing that comes to mind should be like what? The Terminator, those apocalyptic movies, right? What's the one with Will Smith? I Am Legend. Those things come to mind. But again, this just ain't in China. Came out yesterday.
Well, I Robot. I Am Legend.
Oh, it's Khan.
Yeah.
The waters, Quan. iRobot. That's it. But you see, it look this
Mm-hmm.
kind of look like them robots on iRobot, huh?
Yeah,
Shoot.
it looked just like them.
Mm-hmm. But again, that's why Americans need to stop falling asleep. And when they read stuff like this, or where's in China, we okay. Hey, remember, CV started in China too, as they say, but it came here. But come out yesterday, an article from yesterday, and it's just I ain't gonna read through it all. I'm gonna put it in the chat so brothers, sisters could check it out at your leisure. I'm gonna just kind of skim through it. But it ain't just in China, man. They getting that ready for here because these are gonna be some of Esau's soldiers, so to speak, that's gonna be used when all hell break loose. So it says the first humanoid, and this from End Times headlines. The first humanoid robot factory is about to open in Salem, Oregon. So right here in America too, man. These things ain't far off. These things are coming, right? I ain't gonna read into it. I'm gonna just put in the chat. We can get into what's in the title. I just want to mention that though. It ain't just in China. These things are in America as well.
And that's gonna be the futuristic police force.
Mm-hmm. That's it. So we'll hop into it. So this is the first segment of the lesson. It says Thursday Live, martial law coming to America in 2024 with a question mark. And again, this is not just what Natural News saying. This ain't just what these Edomites whistleblowers saying. First and foremost, the prophets been saying this, man. And not just specifically 2024, but now things are looking like it's going to be 2024. But the apostles, the bishops, the elders, right? Akim of Great Millstone and other brothers who teach the same doctrine, been pushing this energy out into the earth, man, mainly in America. You see? Now, it says medical martial law because that's the easiest way for Esau to use that to move on to people. We'll read a little bit in this article, but when you have people dying, right, people in fear, you're going to have uproars at the same time because it's going to be, uncertainty of people's lives, man. Economy going to be worse by this time, so it will be uproars. The American police will going to be pushed out the way, so they're going to have to call in foreign troops, the UN, the blue hats. So let's hop into it. It says Natural News. Now, this was put out a couple of days ago, 4 days ago on the 3rd, 12/3. It says full-scale medical martial law coming to America in 2024. It says, and let me know if you got some, Zaquan. It says it has been nearly 3 years since Operation Warp Speed delivered the CV-19 juices to the world, and more people, perhaps than ever before, are sicker than they have ever been, and that's true. It says as the situation worsens, the government is ready to unleash full-scale medical martial law on America, likely at some point next year, man.
Hey, you don't know that guy's name who's they're trying to crucify right now because he leaked. What he did was he leaked the basically the death statistics of the juice. I'm gonna see if I can pull his name up, but yeah, they got him in trial right now. He been on Alex Jones. He been running the circuit, but what he was showing is that they had certain batches that were lethal, and they were sending them to red states. And that all ties in with what you're going into and where we are right now, because they need to censor all of this truth because it's getting ready to go down again. All the lockdowns and all of that, it's getting ready to go down. All that's going to replay all over again. But go ahead, brother.
And quick Google definition, it says martial law, military government involving the suspension of ordinary law. When your everyday police, the everyday of doing things, that's gonna go out the door. Ain't no more 911. It's gonna be the UN. They might have some mercenaries. Oh, another thing, with all these, as they would call them, immigrants, but you got a lot of them, the Northern Kingdom of Israel, but as they would say, immigrants. A lot of those people are here for certain reasons, man. And we'll find out some of them are troops being sent over.
Right.
But I continue reading. It says it has been nearly 3 years since Operation Warp Speed delivered the CV-19 juices to the world, and more people than perhaps ever before are sicker than they have ever been. And as the situation worsens, the government is readying to unleash full-scale medical martial law on America, likely at some point next year. And even with this, the MOTB, when you break it down, I remember Elder Yachawamba and the big bro Tazamai Dallas did a lesson on it. Even that, and you just mentioned Elder Tazapai, even that got something to do with your medical, man. But they gonna use this to tie why you need a digital ID. All right, why you need to keep your juice list up to date, so on and so forth. So the best way to do this is by a sickness, and that's what they're pushing out there. So I continue. It says sources are reporting that upwards of 50% of people who got juiced up for CV were sickened by the shots. It says are still sick with no end in sight. 8 out of 10 jab recipients, especially including those who got at least one booster shot, in addition to the primary series, are suffering complications that could end up disabling them, man. I'm gonna read a little bit more. I'm gonna read this first half of the article, and I got another one just to line back from this one, though. So it says, according to Dr. Peter McCullough, every single person who got the juice is now experiencing some kind of problem or series of problems related to the heart, whether they realize it or not. And those who do realize it often discover it by surprise when they suffer an unexpected cardiac arrest or inflammatory reaction like myocarditis. It says, as time goes on and the bodies of the fully juiced up degrade even further, there will likely come a point when a critical mass of sick people creates enough public health scare that the infamous quarantine camps are open and filled with the sick. Now, Elder Tazapai, you was talking about it before we started the lesson, how New York, if brothers and sisters out there remember last week, we mentioned how New York, they already passed a bill for a quarantine camp to where you ain't got to really have a cough, a sneeze. If they think you got something, they can take you out your house at any time and throw you in the camp, man. They got these things set up. And we know eventually, instead of a juice camp, it's going to be an MOTB camp. But they already started it. You got it, Zaquan.
No, you good. No, that's right. You just reminded me, Catherine Austin Fitz. She just was going into the same thing, but how they getting ready to, there's going to be massive unemployment. And she said, how it's, that ultimately would be worse than setting off a bomb. You got all these unemployed people, and created this situation. But the one thing that she said was that people now are sicker than ever. And it's not from any virus. All right, but from this self-proclaimed solution to these viruses. So, I mean, it's like everybody that's in the know is on one accord that shit is getting ready to hit the fan.
Mm-hmm. See, this is an article we touched on last week from shtfplan.com. New York ruling class says it can now quarantine people against their will. So, brothers, ain't up here just talking. These things are being put into place. And just because, a brother may not see, well, my auntie coughed the other day, she ain't know, look, these, right, they're making the legislation for it, man. All we waiting on is whatever event is going to be. And that's what they're going to talk about in these upcoming videos we're going to play. We waiting on whatever event is going to be, man. And as it's saying right here, one of the things that's going to get the world in an uproar again is this next sickness. So let's continue on in this article. You got something, Quan, before we continue?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay, Con. So it says New York is said to have its quarantine camps ready. Just like what we brought out in Judah, the first precept. Everything, all the prophecies are ready. It says New York is said to have its quarantine camps ready and waiting for the political green light to start loading up the boxcars so to speak, and delivering prisoners to their bunks. Other states are reportedly doing the same, often quietly, man. So again, these things are happening behind closed doors, and that's why they can throw it out there and give you distractions like Usher and Keke Palmer. You see, who else? Sexy Red. They throwing that out there because under those, they passing it and signing off on legislation, man.
Yeah, Diddy hot right now.
God.
You know, everybody been talking about P. Diddy, you know, but people not paying attention to what's really going on. I got a real quick scripture right quick, going into what you're speaking on. And it's in Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right. And that beast coming up out of the earth, that's America. There's the two horns represent the two-party political system here, because horns represent power. The power of America is in its democracy, and that democracy rests on the two-party system of the Republicans and the Democrats. All right. So that's the two horns like a lamb. All right. Because, you know, America, as it was supposed to be, the republic, you know, easy going, you know, government stay out of your life. You had sovereignty to do, you know, to do business, do whatever, you know, outside of infringing on someone else's rights. But then it says, well, I'll read it again. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, that's America, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. All right, now the two are contrary. Because you got democracy where, you know, it's supposed to be about the people, for the people, we the people. But speaking as a dragon, that goes into draconian laws, you know, these harsh dictates, just as the brother reading about Law 2.13 in New York, where they could just lock you up just on suspicion of you being sick. Right. You don't have to be sick. They could just say, oh, well, he's sick. Remember contract tracing? Maybe somebody you work with get a cough, and then they trace him. Well, we need to get everybody at that job. Somebody in your building, you stay in apartments. Somebody gets sick. Well, we need to get everybody in that, you know, get everybody quarantined. That's how it's gonna roll. They ain't waiting for you to get sick. They just gonna say, oh, you know, you look sick. You sound sick. Right. You know what? I just think I feel like you sick. And then come get you. Well, that's draconian. All right? That's not democracy. So we're looking at a contrast here. The two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, that's dictatorship. Actually, when you make dictates or put forth draconian laws, that's going into the realm of dictatorship. And that's where America is going. You know, I was showing brothers yesterday the video that I did, I think it was Tuesday, that they fact checked my video because I was talking about the reset. I wasn't talking about it. A video that I posted was talking about the reset. And in the video, the man was saying that the Great Reset is just them, the powers that be, the elite, taking away the sovereignty of the people. That's the reset. And so under my video, they posted a Wikipedia article, which they approved of, telling you what the Great Reset is. So they're starting that, you know, this new form of censorship that they're pushing.
Right.
So it's getting ready to go down. But the other point there being is that America is going to start making mandates, dictates, and enforce draconian measures. All right. That's been prophesied, and it ain't no getting around it. Now, to go in line with what you just read, all right, in Revelation chapter 2, verse 10, which it says, fear none of those things which thou shall suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. So does that mean that the devil gonna come up from hell? He gonna come up from under the ground to put niggas in prison? No, it's talking about a devil here on this earth. And we know who that is. That devil is Esau, the children of Edom, the so-called white man, or the white people. And these are the devils that the scripture is speaking of, because devil just goes back to the Greek, which means, in the Greek, diablo, which means deceiver. And we know that he was brought into power to deceive the nations. That's Revelation 20. And so, this is who this is talking about. Revelation 2 and 10, again, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Who owns the prisons? All right. I posted a video to the chat speaking about what Ice Cube was saying. A lot of the same people that's in the music industry that's pushing this rap and all this shit for these young niggas to get caught up in some bullshit where they own these penitentiaries. A lot of them. So a lot of these penitentiaries are privately owned. They don't belong to the state. All right. They belong to that. Well, some of them got boards where you got certain individuals that sit on the board, and some of them are privately owned. All right. And all type of atrocities go on in these penitentiaries, but just showing you who owns the prisons. But that's who the ones that's going to be throwing your ass in jail. But this prison, as the brother was reading, is going to be in the form of these quarantine camps. That's nothing more than a prison. Mm-hmm. But it says, for us who believe, right? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right, so this is, the times that we're coming into. So you got it, brother.
So I read a little bit of this article, and I'm going to jump to another one, and we're going to go ahead and play this video, because he said some good stuff. Man, Mike Adams from Brady.
Yeah, I thought that was Mike. I wasn't for sure. All right.
Yeah, he was going in. He went in. And we're going to go play that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. He was going into when the dollar collapsed. What things can we expect from that? And when I was watching it, I had to check again, make sure I wasn't watching a brother video, because it sounded like he was prophesying, man. Which a lot of these people that's about to be talking in these latter days, whether they whistleblowers, people on the news, they gonna be sounding like prophets. And what I mean by that, the Lord about to force everybody to speak about what's in this Bible, man. It's about to play out in the earth. It's gonna be nowhere around it, like it said in what that is, Ezekiel 12. No more vain divination and false prophecy. Everything about to be in all these people's faces on what's about to happen is according to what the prophet's been saying, man. So I read this again in this first article, and I throw it in the chat. We can move on to the other one. I'm gonna play this vid. I really want to get to that. So it says New York is said to have its quarantine camps ready and waiting for the political green light to start loading up the boxcars, so to speak, and delivering prisoners to their bunks. Other states are reportedly doing the same, often quietly. And it says right here, related article. I'm going to go to this related article. And what it says, President Biden has been dropping hints that a second round of medical martial law is coming soon to the United States. Now, this was put out a couple months ago because we mentioned it a couple months when it first came out on a live show. But the point is, this was back in August. Now, as we see, a couple months later, we about to see this second event take place. Now, I'm gonna touch on it real quick. It says Biden setting stage for second round of medical martial law. Now, this first article we just read was put out yesterday. Now, this one was put out a couple months ago. The point is, these things are already planned. They planned already, man. So let's see what they said a couple months ago, and now we'll see we right at the brink of it, so to speak. So it says the regime of Joe Biden is setting in stone a new permanent federal agency to handle future pandemics because of the CV-19 was only just the beginning. It says called the Office of Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy. The agency was hastily and quietly established on July 21st to handle whatever the globalists have in store for the world as the next CV 2.0 event. These things are already planned, man. It says it would seem as though the 3-year CV PSYOP was merely a test run to iron out the kinks for the next, much bigger PSYOP even. It says CV
Who
was
been saying that? Who been saying that? Gray Millstone been saying that.
That's right.
That was just a beta test to prepare for the big. But yeah, brother, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, that's right. That's right. It says CV was the catalyst for implementing the OPPR, which is the Pandemic Preparedness and Response Policy. It says much like how the 9/11, terrorist attacks were the catalyst for the Bush regime to establish the Department of Homeland Security. So you see, when they have big events come, they give them the green light to, as the brother said, I'll pull it real quick. The brother Spiritual Ark 144, Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them.
I already had it.
Oh, that's the spirit then. So you won't. I'll read it for
you.
I'll
read it since you got the article. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. You speak on it.
That's it. So it says prescribed. They got these things ready in advance. And the best example to go to is Daniel, I believe it's the 5th chapter, when the other presidents in Babylon, they was trying to get Daniel caught up, and they seen they couldn't get him caught up on his conduct in the society. So they said, look, we got to catch him praying. So let's make a law that nobody could pray. The point is, they had these things planned and ready, waiting on Daniel to mess up. The same thing happened in these times, man. Esau doing those or using those same strategies. He planned them ahead of time, and he'll create a problem, and the solution will be his new legislation. And really, in the new legislation, go take freedom away from the peoples, man. I sound like Bishop Jephthah, the peoples, but that's what we seeing again. When 9/11 came, you had the Patriot Act passed, cameras everywhere, Homeland Security. So when this next great event come, what you think could take place? It's gonna be a new NWO, that great reset, man. Esau can't play with this one. The first one he could play with. The first one he had time to test it out. Remember, prophecy said he got but a short time. He ain't got all day to do a second test. The first test was enough. He got to get it in, man. So I'm
gonna read verse 2 before you move on. Well, again, Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. All right. Woe going into death and destruction. This is a stern warning that death and destruction is coming to you. All right. Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness, which they have prescribed. These are those, them speaking as a dragon, all right? Because countries, governments speak through legislation, decrees, dictates, commands, all right? So they're writing grievousness, all right? They're purposely they know that this is going to be grievous to the people. They don't care. They going through with this anyway because this is what they were set up to do. But it says, which they have prescribed. It says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, right? Or God, or as Esau puts it, or unalienable rights. All right. The Heavenly Father, like I said, as far as us, the Israelites, he gave us a law. All right. But every man, woman, and child have the right to, you just can't oppress a people or just, oppress them to the point where they can't live. But this is what Esau wants to do. But the needy is talking about us. The poor this is talking about us. All right. The Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos and Native Americans predominantly. All right, it says to turn aside the needy from judgment, all right, from what's right, proper judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people. Right, they want to take our rights away, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. So you got it out.
Okay, and I'll finish up this article and we'll get to that video. So it says CV was the catalyst for implementing the OPPR, much like how the 9/11, you don't even want to say that word, but terrorist attacks were a catalyst for the Bush regime to establish the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS. It says the way it works is the government stages, keyword stages. The way it works is the government stages an emergency or disaster that is then used as an excuse to expand the government's power. What the hell they're just talking about. It says 9/11 brought about airport tyranny, i.e. naked body scanners, pat downs, while CV is bringing about the OPPR, which will oversee enforcement and the next round of masking, lockdowns, and force being juiced. Now I'm gonna jump down to this last little part. So it says, I'm gonna read this. It says, after initially criticizing what Trump had done in terms of Operation Warp Speed, Joe Biden, once he took the office, continued the true policy of militarizing and pressurizing the juice rollout. The aforementioned military operation, now here it is, was so successful that the Biden administration is now making it permanent and taking it to the next level. So the conclusion is, what will the next CV 2.0 pandemic event entail? Well, the point is, we right upon it, man. And we know these going to be the things going to be getting Jacob's trouble. That's it. That's it. Again, Esau can't do another trial run. He ain't got time to. He got a short time. He can't do no more trial runs, man. But if you ain't got another coin, I'll go ahead and play this vid.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from Brighteon.com. Now, the page on here is Health Ranger Report, which is Mike Adams. I'm sure you heard Apostle Ramlav speaking about him a couple of times. Apostle Tahar as well. Right now, this lesson that he went into was from 8 hours ago, so it's hot off the presses. The title is "The Dollar Collapse Could Happen Suddenly with No Warning. Are you prepared?" So let's go ahead and get into it. Now we'll jump around. I'll play the beginning because the other times I'm gonna play that part, Zaquana, for that part you wanted when he said they don't have to go to war with America; they go watch it die slowly. In other words, kind of. But as it's playing, just let me know if you got something.
The dollar collapse is closer than you think. In fact, it could happen literally overnight. The dollar could be nearly worthless, abandoned by most of the countries around the world, with bank bail-ins in the United States, the freezing of people's deposits, and the freezing of transactions. And I've interviewed many different people on this subject, different experts. They have different predictions. Some say that this could happen within weeks, others years, and everything in between. It's anybody's guess. We don't know how long they can keep kicking the can down the road. But here's what we do know. It's very clear that Russia is not in any big hurry to try to engage NATO or US forces in Europe. It's also clear that Iran is not in a hurry, nor is Hezbollah or even Turkey. They're not in a hurry to engage Israel and then earn the wrath of the United States carrier strike force groups with all the bombs and cruise missiles and everything that brings. And you know why they're not in a hurry? One of the big reasons is because all of these countries know that the U.S. empire is near collapse anyway. And they're thinking, why bother fighting the U.S. when all you have to do is sit back and wait a little longer, and the U.S., it destroys itself. Right now, the United States of America is paying $1 trillion a year in interest on the debt. $1 trillion a year.
You want to speak on that?
Oh no, brother. You asked something?
I thought you probably want to speak on this. All good.
I said what I had to say.
Come.
Now, I mean, clearly that's insane.
Oh, but key thing he said, this can happen within weeks, days, months. Hey, the point is we here.
And yet, the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury are printing more and more currency at this pace. I mean, right now we're at $33 trillion in debt, but at this pace, the current pace of money printing and paying interest on the debt, we're going to be at $41 trillion within 1 year. $41 trillion in debt. And then it won't be long before another year, and we'll be at $50 trillion in debt, if not more. And obviously, this probably ends before we ever hit $50 trillion in debt. I mean, we are approaching the end game here, the final chapter of the dollar. It is.
And what's the final chapter of the dollar? What does it go in with? The MOTB, the RFID micro C here, man.
That's right.
It ain't just the prophets that saying this. Everybody gonna have to get down with what the word of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai say, man.
It is going to happen very soon. And when it does, it's not just that everybody's account deposits in dollars in U.S. banks.
Now listen to this, because what he about to say is that when a dollar collapses, it ain't just gonna be like you can't get no more dollars out the bank, withdraw or deposit dollars, and you still got your pension and you still got your 401k. No, once the dollar fall, everything that everybody ever saved up won't matter ever, man. You see, it ain't gonna better do nothing in the new system.
Like, it's not just that's going to vanish or essentially become unusable. Either it becomes worthless or you just can't have access to it because of the bank bail-ins. It's not just that. It's that all the checks that people are living on also become worthless. I'm talking about Social Security checks. I'm talking about pension checks. I mean, many of you listening to this, you no doubt depend at least partially on those kinds of checks. Pension, maybe even, Medicare, maybe Social Security, maybe a disability check from the government. These checks, these entitlements are also going to zero. And I mean zero in value. I don't mean zero in the numbers. They will still send out the checks. You'll still get the check. You'll still have what you are, quote, owed. If you're collecting $3,000 a month in Social Security right now, yeah, you'll still get $3,000 a month, but the $3,000 will be worthless. It'll be pointless. It'll be a joke. This can buy a cup of coffee. What is this? That's what's about to happen. We have entered the doom cycle. And yet, to my incredible astonishment, gold and silver are still suppressed in price. And the only reason that is the case is because not enough mainstream people have yet awakened to the reality of what is happening. And that means there's actually sort of a sneaky advantage that's present for those who know what's happening. And that advantage is to be able to get gold and silver on the cheap when the prices are suppressed. When gold and silver prices haven't yet, full institutional investors out there are still buying treasuries. They're still investing in the dollar. They think that's good. The banks are still buying treasuries or holding treasuries that they previously bought. When the massive
from 5 minutes to about 10 minutes, he gonna be going in. So we're gonna play about 5 minutes of this. And again, Zaquan, whatever you got, let me know, because I'm sure there's gonna be times we're gonna stop, bring out some precepts or something. But
just wake up and realize that the game is up, the con has run its course. Gold and silver will be, as Steve Quayle says, gold and silver.
Now check this out. He's saying when the people wake up and realize the dollar don't mean nothing, that this money they saved up don't mean nothing, that's when they gonna revolt.
That the game is up, the con has run its course. Gold and silver will be, banks are still buying treasuries or holding treasuries that they previously bought. When the masses wake up and realize that the game is up, the con has run its course, gold and silver will be, as Steve Quayle says, unobtainium at any price. There will be no supply because the people who have it won't want to sell it. Why would you? At any price, right? Because it's not worth trading in physical metal that has value with pointless, valueless currency that is going to lose value every single day because of all the money printing. I mean, Weimar Germany is actually a model of where this is going, except this is on a much, much larger scale by orders of magnitude. This will take out, London, the city's nearly upon us. And this will of the West, this is on a much.
So like I'm trying to jump and get to the point, but he making points, so I just got to play it through. Because what he gonna say when American dollar collapse, it ain't just gonna take out America, it's gonna take out the whole beast system, man. NATO, EU, everybody who involved with this dollar.
Much larger scale, by orders of magnitude. The financial collapse of the West is nearly upon us. And this will take out, London, the city of London, the London banking system. This is going to take out the financial systems of Japan. The Bank of Japan is already struggling, and it has been for years. It'll be done.
Hey, you know what makes sense? And when the American dollar collapses, where you think American allies go look for help? Russia looking mighty strong right now, gathering these other nations, man. So it'd be easy for them to go there and try to want to make a deal with the BRICS or so on and so forth, or the Russian, what it is, the ruble.
The U.S.,
Hey,
Canada.
And to back him up, it's funny that Phil Valentine just came out, I want to say Tuesday, and said because Mike just said the price of gold is being suppressed. What Valentine came out and said is that at the top, in the upper echelons of the trading, gold is trading at 30 grand an ounce. And that's just a reflection of the real value of the dollar. All right. It ain't that gold is just that high. It's just that the dollar is that worthless that it takes 30,000 of those dollars to buy what you used to could get for $35.
Damn.
So they're just, showing. Now that's neither here nor there. I don't know what they trading for, but it has a ring of truth to it with what Mike is saying. And I know that they're suppressing the price, but I don't know the actual price, but it's far more than what they saying. It's 12 that they're admitting to 1,200. I hadn't looked at the price of gold in a minute, but no, it's well beyond that, and they do that to keep the masses asleep. So yeah, it's just a ticking time bomb. But you got it, brother.
Come on.
United Kingdom, Germany's done. Its economy is finished. France is in a little bit better shape, but
And
still
you
not
mentioned everybody who's gonna be suffering with America once the dollar collapse.
looking that great. And its economy is finished. France is in a little bit better shape, but still not looking that great. Folks, this is going to take down all of Western civilization in terms of its banks, its currencies, its pensions, and so on. And in preparation for this, the globalists have kept the borders wide open so that there would be a mass occupation of these Western nations, i.e. the United States and Western Europe and so on, and also even Australia, you name it, Canada. So that occupation would be in place as the collapse happens. When the collapse happens, all bets are off.
So what are you about to go into? Again, we say when this dollar collapse happens, all these other nations, which he named EU or NATO nations, everybody on the same accord. He about to go into some things when the next event, in quotations, event, or when this next situation happens, this is the kind of things we're going to see take place. And again, it's all according to prophecy, man. Let's see what he named.
There will be no functioning law enforcement in most places. There won't even be a functioning power grid in many places. There will be no functioning banks. The food supply chains will collapse. Energy. There will be no functioning banks. The food in most places. There won't even be a functioning power grid in many places. There will be no functioning banks. The food supply chains will collapse. Energy supply chains and so on. You're going to have chaos. And in that chaos, you're going to see extremist groups that hate America, groups that hate Christians, groups that hate white people, groups that they want to come in and occupy and take over. And you can imagine who some of those groups are. And they're just going to go on a full-blown purge, door-to-door mass killings. They're just going to take people's homes and kill the people who used to live there. Oh, it's our home now. Guess what? They're just going to ransack the banks, the pharmacies, the grocery stores, armed squads of these groups. And the average American who is completely unprepared is just going to sit there and get slaughtered because they have no idea what's going on or how to defend themselves. No clue whatsoever. You know, right now in Gaza, by the way, it's been about 30 days of Israeli bombardment, and the people of Gaza have run out of food, and of course, their water systems are not working. They've run out of fuel for their generators. This siege warfare, it's a reminder for all of us, even who don't live in Gaza. Can you survive 30 days without food or water?
What he's saying is what we see on TV, don't think it can't come over here.
Can you? I mean, it's a good time to double check your planning. I know many of you can survive a year, maybe even longer, and that's smart. A lot of people can't survive 30 days. Some people can't make it a week. And most people have no solution for water. If they don't have a working water system, they're screwed. They don't even own a water filter. You can imagine what the U.S. cities are going to break down into in terms
Check them out, hear them out. When this happened, what these American cities going to look like?
of total chaos. It's going to be chaos at a level that we've never seen in the history of this nation.
Ain't that what Yahweh Shai said? Some time like never before that have never been seen on earth. If a brother want to throw it in the chat, I know Jeremiah said it, Yahweh Shai said it. He said it too, man. Because the actions in the earth is the law of prophecies are speaking in the earth, man. Everybody got to sing the same tune now. That's the point we getting to.
In terms of total chaos. It's going to be chaos at a level that we've never seen in the history of this nation. Not even in the Civil War. Not even in the Revolutionary War. This is going to be chaos that is, American on American violence.
Egyptian against Egyptian, right? Isaiah 19. American and American.
As the culture has broken down, lawfulness has collapsed, law enforcement has been defunded, but the culture, the morality, the ethics have all been abandoned, and we now live among, frankly, many savages. The criminal element, the criminal gangs, the drug abusers, and in some cases, the violent addicts. They're savages. They live among us, and there's nothing they won't do to try to stay alive. And as much as I am a humanitarian, meaning I don't want to see anybody suffer, I don't want to see anyone die, I also recognize that only those who are capable of self-defense are going to make it through what's coming.
I'm going to get a quick precept real quick. Now, what he was saying is how the working class man, that was going to be the ones, or that's going to be the ones who go revolt. They going to be the ones tired of it, man, being oppressed. But again, that's according to prophecy, real quick. Because these people only go better take it for so long. Shit, even us, we struggling, man. And we got the hope. How much more of these people who struggling out in the world with no hope of being beamed up and saved in the world to come? They're going to lose it. Like Gerald Salente said, when people have nothing else to lose, they lose it. That it is your mind, man. But real quick, this going into Esau fulfilling his new world order. Let's see. This is Job 20. And I get straight to the point. Verse 22, it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency. What's the fullness of his sufficiency? When he think he about to fulfill the NWO, the Great Reset. He got C-hips and people. Got people in quarantine camps. Got cities locked down. Got drones and robots roaming the world. In the fullness, he by this time he might be in his bunker. He think he escaped. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, and the Lord making things difficult. The closer he gets to thinking he gonna fulfill his new world order, the Lord gonna make things harder. But it's the point I want. It says, so at the time he think he almost about to be done with this great reset, it says, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Now, when you go into that word wicked, it ain't talking about Esau. Now, the Hebrew word is H6001. It's Aimal. Aimal. Because it says every hand of the wicked will come upon him. Every hand of who? The laborer, the sufferer, the everyday workman, your everyday citizen who out here slaving at these jobs. That's who it's talking about. Eventually, the people will get tired of, man, I seen in New York today. I watched a video today. They're trying to tax people like $15, $25 to pass on the freeway now. And you got people complaining like, bro, so I'm paying to go to work, and when I get to work, I got to pay for parking. So the point is, the everyday citizen getting driven to their end. And as I say right here, every hand of the wicked or the working class go come upon these elites, the government, man. These people gonna revolt. As the saying goes, enough is enough, man. You see, enough is enough. Now I play a little bit more, and now I get 2 Esdras 15. You got something, Zaquan?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say get 2 Esdras 15. Go ahead, though.
Let's get it. We can get it right now then. So there's matter of fact, I know the brother posted.
Yeah, I can't read this fine print.
I see the brother post. It's 2 Esdras 15 and verse 14. Because everything this man said is gonna play out, believe it or not. Although this ain't Ripley's. It's 2 Esdras 15 and 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. And you can speak on this, Zaquan. You got it. It says, verse 15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands.
That's the same thing that the Lord prophesied that Matthew the 24th chapter, you know, when the disciples asked him, Lord, when shall be the time of your return? And the Lord broke it down. He said, you know, before I come back, it's going to be wars, rumors of wars. There's going to be nation rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, you know, earthquakes in diverse places. I'm loosely paraphrasing, but right, it's going to be sedition among the people. And that's the time that we're on the precipice of this, all right? These things are on the horizon and about to break forth. But go ahead,
It says, but there shall be, 2 Esdras 15 and 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another.
Right, Mike just said that.
Just said it.
Right. He just said that they're going to be coming up in your house, killing you and taking your house. They're going to house your house. All right? They're going to debo your shit. And most people ain't ready. They ain't going to have a leg to stand on. All right? Because all of this is orchestrated by the Most High for judgment. All right? If you're not right with the Most High, you ain't making it out of this. And that's just the bottom line. But go ahead, brother.
2 Esdras 15 and 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another, and they shall not, and again, this is that same working class, Imal. It says, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
And you know what that is, brother? One word.
What's that?
Anarchy.
That is.
Yeah, that's talking about anarchy. The scripture is illustrating a total breakdown of society, a collapse. Even Mike said it's a collapse in morals and ethics right now. But right, the scripture is describing anarchy. When they say they shall not regard their kings nor princes, mean they don't have no regard for the rule of law. And really, there's been no rule of law in America probably since I've been born. It's just been laws for us. And then the powers that be and the privileged get to do whatever the fuck they want. So, and that's not a rule of law. Rule of law is everybody follows this across the board. I don't care who you are. That's why the Lord in the scripture says that he has no respect of persons. The Lord don't care who you are. You're going to keep this law. Mm-hmm. But here in America, among these Edomites, it's not so. They got a law and rules for us while they get to, traffic. They get to traffic, and even in Ezekiel, it speaks about how through his traffic, he's gotten riches. All right. And where is that?
Ezekiel 28, I believe.
28. Right. Ezekiel 28. But, that traffic is talking about doing business, but he also is into people traffic. And that's where a great portion of his riches come from. All right. And this has been underground, but something that's been coming to light in what, the past 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, just coming to the forefront. When Pizzagate broke, that's when everything started to come out. All right, with Pizzagate, that they are traffickers. All right, they traffic the drugs. They got their legit businesses, but under that, and how they got those legit businesses, they do wicked, underhanded practices. All right, they traffic drugs, they traffic people, they run the gambit. But they better not catch your ass with nothing, or they're gonna lock you up and throw away the key.
All right.
Well, see, and people getting sick of this shit. Well, that's just one of the things. You mentioned the economic oppression. All of this stuff is just a buildup of pressure. And like we say here in the South, I don't know if they say it up north or whatever, but we say pressure busts a pipe. So like you say, when people lose everything, they ain't got nothing else to lose, they gonna lose it. But yeah, it's talking about anarchy. You wanted to read that?
I read that.
Anarchy. Show it. That's cool if you.
So this is a quick Google definition on Merriam-Webster. It says anarchy, an absence of government. It ain't just saying that they ain't coming to work that day. No, ain't nobody respecting no more, man. Ain't no laws no more.
Mike mentioned the purge.
Yeah, he did. Yep, you got it.
Yeah. But go ahead, you good.
It says absence of government, a state of lawlessness. When you go to Matthew 24, when Yahweh Shai said, because iniquity shall abound and the love of many gonna wax cold. When you go into the word iniquity, one of the definitions in the blue letter is lawlessness. So because lawlessness gonna continue to abound, people ain't gonna give a F no more, man.
That's right.
It says a state of lawlessness or political disorder due to an absence of governmental authority, man. And that's what we're reading about. These people ain't gonna kill them, man. You got us, Quan.
Hey, do we have governmental authority here? I mean, you look at Joe Biden, you really think he's governing something?
Right.
No, this is a joke. This place is a joke. But yeah, brother, go ahead, man.
I finish off this in 2nd Ezra 15. I'm gonna finish it in the NLT because it go in a way indirectly mention martial law. So because again, that's what we've been talking about, what it's coming to.
Right.
I'm gonna finish this in the GNT. It says there will be, I'm gonna start at 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. There will be in the GNT, there will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control, while ignoring the legitimate government. And it's the point. And there will be no longer free access to the cities, man. Cities gonna be locked down. It's gonna be checkpoints. You might have to show your MOTB, your eye scan, your fingerprint. It's gonna be something. Your CBDC, your credit score in order to get by. 15-minute cities. So this in the scriptures. What we've been talking about, medical martial law, right? And they closing up cities, bringing quarantine camps. Well, right here in 2nd Ezra is written hundreds of years before this point we in, thousands of years before this point we in. It says 2nd Ezra 15, 17, GNT, there will no longer be free access to the cities. It's going to tell us why. It says because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. But what's going to fuel all this? It says driven by famine and terrible suffering. So the people go revolt. They will have to bring the troops on the street because it's going to be driven by what? The world will be driven by famine and terrible sufferings. So they're going to have to bring in more troops. It says driven by famine and terrible suffering, and people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. Exactly what Mike just said on the video, man. The time's coming when an everyday citizen, he ain't gonna have nothing. Him, his wife, his children, he gonna go take it from his neighbor, man. People go get tired of waiting around for a stimulus check. The new CBDC drop. These everyday citizens go take actions to their own hands, man. And that's what we're reading about. And that's why America will have to call in more troops, right? For martial law. But you got something else, Zaquan?
No, sir. You good?
Okay, yeah, we'll play this quick vid. Now, this is a quick 11-minute vid. We ain't gonna play all of it. And this guy kind of talk fast anyway, you know. Now, what he going into is the truth about the power grid outage and a risk in America. Because you know, when people think about the power grid, they just think, well, my phone will go off. I ain't gonna have nowhere to charge it. I ain't gonna better watch TV or Netflix. You know, the simple things of life. But what he go into is way more than that. Even the water supply in America is controlled by what? Technology, man. The food supply, technology, so on and so forth. So when the lights go off, everything going off. You know, and again, this is not nothing new. This happened in Egypt, right? But I'll go ahead and play it.
By the way, before COVID, did you ever think that you and I were going to...
I promise you, I ain't got to speed it up. I thought I was tripping earlier. Jake just talked fast. So I thought I had to speed it up. It's on normal speed, but let me know if it's too fast. I'll slow it down even.
Going to go through an epidemic or pandemic where we're going to be told that... By the way, before COVID, did you ever think that you and I were going to go through an epidemic or pandemic?
Again, this from Valuetainment 3 days ago. Fresh off the presses.
Where we're going to be told that, you know, we're going to... By the way, before COVID, did you ever think that you and I were going to go through an epidemic or pandemic where we're going to be told that, you know, we're going to shut down everything, you're going to be working from home, you better quarantine, put the mask on, have gloves on, when you're going out there, don't touch this, don't do that, kids stay home. Did you think that, like, did that thought even cross your mind? When 2019 was going into 2020 and you're preparing in December, did you say, honey, we better be ready for a potential pandemic to happen? We did not think about it. And then all of a sudden, boom, we were hit with it, right? You know, so one thing no one's talking about that is very likely that could happen, a power outage. So imagine power outage happens. No light, no fridge, food is no longer good, no phone charger, phone is done, no internet. What happens to your life? FYI, come on, Pat. That would never happen.
That's a Selah moment right there. Really think about that. Yeah, Aquas, think about that. When everything go out, bro, it's gonna be strictly fate at that time. For real, think about that. It ain't gonna be no more you going on GMS InfoDoc, you know, GMS push on, Elders in Transit, daily edification, you know, the elders pages. Ain't nobody gonna be uploading videos telling you what's the next thing you should look for. What prophecy this is being fulfilled, bro. When all these things happen, ain't gonna be no communication for some. We know the Lord can work around it, you know, but it ain't gonna be communication for nobody, man. And it ain't just that. When a power grid go down, that could kickstart the famine, as he gonna kind of go into. So don't just think is your lights go off. I'm inside the house. I'm gonna just put the window up. It's a tomorrow. No, man, this is gonna cause some major damage to America. Everything ran off technology. This current society, man, in America, everything is ran off the phone, a laptop, a computer, iPad, whatever it is. People did their lives consist on it. So when it's taken away, how you think these people go respond? Let's play it.
So let me give you our score on how good we're doing with power energy system. The American Society of Civil Engineers, which gave the U.S. energy system a C- on grade on its 2021 infrastructure report card, said that the grid investment trends will eventually lead to a funding gap of almost $200 billion in 2029. And also in 2021, threat assessment from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence stated that Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea have the capability to cause harm to the energy grid. What? Also at the same time, the Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm confirmed that America's adversaries possess the capability to shut down the grid. What? We're going to talk about that today. So look, I've been in the financial industry since 9/11, the day before 9/11, and I've owned stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, crypto, gold, you name it, I've owned it. But the one thing that's very important part of my views and an A+ from the...
over this. He giving his ad and shit. We ain't got time for that.
Okay, so if you get value out of this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. I'm going to give you some good news and some bad news. Here's some good news for you. The good news is the average U.S. electricity consumer experience of interruptions annually remained consistently at around 2 hours per year from 2013 to 2021. We're lucky. If you look at these charts here, this right here shows us the blue is with major events. The navy blue is without major events. Of course, 2017, 2020, 2021, maybe weather, maybe additional things that happen.
Remember what we read on the article earlier, all we need is an event. An event could be lights off, a new sickness, whatever it may be. We just need an event to kickstart everything, man.
Experience a little bit, but around 2 hours per year on average. Now, here's the bad news. The bad news is much of the U.S. electric grid was built in the 60s and the 70s. We're talking 70 years ago is when it was built. Currently, over 70% of the U.S. electricity grid is more than 25 years old, according to the White House. So we've updated almost everything. Yeah, let's upgrade this, upgrade that. Our electricity grid, 70% of it hasn't been updated for more than 25 years. What? Really? Maybe it's something no president's looking at, right? They're like, well, it's not really a threat. We shouldn't look at this here. Now you may say, come on, Pat, of course the government's going to be paying attention to this kind of stuff because this is not on us. This is not free market. We don't do this right now. Somebody else could maybe figure it out. This is the government's responsibility and us taxpayers. We'll pay our taxes. Yeah, I think they kind of know what they're doing in D.C., Pennsylvania, right? I mean, they're smart people. We elected them. Watch this. On October 18, 2023, Biden-Harris administration announced $3.5 billion for largest ever investment in America's electric grid. You know what the budget was? The deficit was at that time? $1.7 trillion. What is $3.5 billion? Not a lot. So now, where is our vulnerability? Like, where are some areas we should be worried about? Number one, extreme weather, abnormal heat or cold.
Now, this one, you about to go into the certain things we can expect to happen when the lights go out, and are some examples on how can we expect the lights to go out? Because he go say it could be Russia, and which we know they go just throw that up in there. Like America hit their own planes, as they say they flew the planes until 911, but they man-made it. So America might turn off their own lights and blame it on Russia or Iran or China. So he about to go into the things that could play out or the different effects that could follow if the lights go out.
Cold, tornadoes, hurricanes, flood or storms, major power outages.
And the shit Elder Tazapah you mentioned earlier, when that freeze happened in Houston, that cut everything out. And that was I don't want to say a light freeze, but when the times where we can expect things, everything that's going to happen, brothers and sisters out there, expect everything to be of biblical proportions. That freeze a couple years ago, it wasn't of biblical proportions, but it cut the whole lights out. What you think will happen in these times, whether it's from the Lord or Esau doing something with his heart machines, like you had at Maui, the fires. That's what he's going into. These could be some of the things they can use as far as Mother Nature, as they say, to turn the lights off.
From weather-related events in the U.S. increased by 67% since 2000. Number two, cybersecurity. The 2020 Homeland Threat Assessment from the Department of Homeland Security stated that
cybersecurity.
China has the capability and possible intent to compromise the energy grid. What would that look like? Would China want to do that? If they did, wouldn't they probably blame somebody else like they did with COVID when it came out from Wuhan? And they said, no, it probably came from some kind of a, other place, but it's not us. It's somebody else. You think China would take responsibility for it? Of course not. They haven't for the recent one. You think they're going to for this? Number three is EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, also referred to as a transient electromagnetic disturbance. TED is a brief burst of electromagnetic energy. The origin of EMP can be natural or artificial and can occur as an electromagnetic field. There are two potential sources for an EMP. The
recordings just got better. Excited to announce that
the deliberate detonation of a nuclear device in the atmosphere above the Earth or a massive solar flare. The consequences of either could range from a few days without power to life-changing. Number four is actual physical attacks on power grid, which rose by 71% last year compared to 2021. The Department of Energy strategy does not include a complete assessment of all the cybersecurity risks to the grid. By the way, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission does not have a good understanding of the scale of the potential impacts from the impact. And in the first 8 months of 2022, the U.S. electrical grid was physically attacked 107 times. So let's actually go through the process. And by the way, this is not like a horror movie you're watching. You're probably listening to this saying this is very possible. And you and I, just like one day, they say death and taxes are the two guarantees in life. This is why you should own life insurance. And this is why you should pay your taxes, because those two things we're going to have to do, right? Watch this. What would happen if the power grid actually did go?
That's the main point I want to get at. What will happen if the power grid actually went down. Because again, people could say, well, if the lights go off, you thinking a generator. You know, I got my phone charged on me. I got my battery pack charged up. It's way more than that, man. Let me read it real quick. It said, if the power grid went down, immediate disruptions would be a loss of electricity in affected areas. This would disrupt the normal functioning of various aspects of daily life, including traffic lights, public transport, businesses, hospitals, communication networks, and more. But let's see some of the things it's going to affect, because it's way more than people think.
Go down. Number one, immediate disruption would be a loss of electricity in affected areas. This would disrupt the normal functioning of various aspects of our daily life, including traffic lights, public transports, businesses, hospitals, communication networks, and more. Number two, water supply. Many water supply systems rely on electric pumps. Without electricity, water treatment plants may not function, potentially leading to a lack of clean water and increased risk of waterborne diseases. Number three.
Y'all heard that? The water supply. When the lights go out, who would ever thought technology and lights would affect water, man? Well, it do, because most of these water pumps, certain places water is stored or used out of, the foundation of it is electronic, man. So if it go out, guess what's going to stop? The water supply from flowing. You can easily say, well, if I ain't got can't get a water out the store, Dasani, I'm going to just, you know, go back to the old school, drink out the faucet. Ain't no more faucet water. It ain't working no more. The simple things people forget, man. You know? What's the next one?
Number three, transportation. Traffic lights would go out, leading to traffic jams and potentially accidents. Electric trains and subway would halt. Fuel stations might not be able to pump gas, leading to a shortage of fuel for vehicles. Number four.
I got to go back on that one, because people might say, well, I'm going to fill my tank up. You know, me and my family go into, you know, a U-Haul or whatever. We just going to go out in the camp in the woods. But what's another thing that's going to happen? It says traffic lights will go out, leading to traffic jams and potentially accidents. Electric trains and subways would halt. Ain't no more of that. All electric. Hey, he ain't said in his lesson, but whoever got a Tesla out there, Salakia. It ain't gonna work. It says fuel stations.
Has work now.
Right.
You know, they catch on fire. You got to find charging stations and shit. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen some Tesla owners complaining because they're like, if we go on a road trip and, you know, we ride on a highway or on a freeway in the middle of nowhere, and then you ain't got no random charging stations. It's nothing but gas stations. And even if it is, it's the little broke down ones where you're like, I don't even know if I want to put my gas in this car. What? This gas in my car. Ain't no random pump stations just readily available, man. You see? But he got water, everyday society as far as street lights, trains, but it says what also? Fuel stations might not be able to pump gas. Again, that's electric, leading to a shortage of fuel for vehicles. And that's why you see on a lot of these apocalyptic movies, you'll look on the street or a freeway and they have abandoned cars just lined up in a line. Right. Eventually, they all going to go out of gas or electricity. And people going to have to get on their foot and run for their lives, man. These are the times we entering into. Just because we bringing it up now, tomorrow it may not happen. A week from now may not happen. A month from now, guess what? It's going to happen eventually, man.
To pump gas, leading to a shortage of fuel for vehicles. Number four, communication. Cell towers have backup generators, but they can run out of fuel if not replenished. This could disrupt mobile phone service and the internet, hampering emergency response and communication among the public.
Cell towers? You can't call your mama. You know, niggas want to call their mama as soon as they get into something. Can't call your father. Ain't no 911. It says hampering emergency response. Ain't none of that no more. Who you gonna call first? How you even get your phone on if it's charged? Come on, man. People need to start thinking about, although, you know, us in the Northern, the Wadi Bashim Shai gave us the foresight, but people don't think about these things. Their life consists of looking down on their phone or looking at a screen. What happens if that get taken away? People don't know the everyday necessities of living, especially here in America, man.
Number five, healthcare. While hospitals have emergency generators, a prolonged outage could endanger patients, especially those in intensive care units or those dependent on powered medical devices.
Think about that, Zaquan. The people in the hospital who living off a machine. What happened when the machine go off? when all the lights in the hospital and the power grid go off. Everybody who hooked up to a machine and breathing from the machine, you're going to die on that machine, man. Come on. And hey, that's another thing they've been talking about. Even medication. It's been a lack of medication here in America as well. So people ain't gonna better cope when they sober in their right mind because they never lived in their right mind, man. Man, that's gonna be something in a day when a person can't get high, can't get doped up off drugs, right? Can't go drink their life away, can't go on a road trip to ease their mind. You're gonna have to live with your reality, man. And that reality gonna be the judgments of the Lord, man. What's the next one?
Number 6, food supply. Refrigeration would be lost, leading to spoilage of perishable foods. Without a functioning transportation system, the movement of goods would be hampered, leading to shortages in grocery stores.
That's another one. Even over there in man, what is it slipped my mind. You probably the not peninsula, Panama, the Panama Peninsula, I believe. When they, you know what it's called down there in Panama? Yeah, the Panama Canal, the water, the Panama Canal. Oh. That's it's backed up right now. It's backed up. They've been having to reroute ships to go all the way down from South America and come all the way up, left or right. It's been backed up, and that's been one of America's main ways of getting goods in and bringing goods out. It's backed up, and it ain't like you can just turn a ship around. That canal is narrow. That's another thing leading to a lack of food. So the food that's supposed to be in the stores next week, guess what? It might not be there because they ain't make it through yet. And then if they do make it, it might be done. It might be past the date, right? The perishable date.
By the way, we saw the food supply during COVID. It's not like this is just 50 years ago. This just happened 2-3 years ago. Economic impact. Prolonged outages could lead to a significant economic losses as businesses shut down and the cost of response and recovery mounts. Again, this shouldn't be intimidating. This just happened 3 years ago. You know what happened to so many restaurants in America? They had to shut down. What happened to restaurants in California and New York and Illinois? They're like, look, we can't make this happen. What can we do with this? They went out of business. Next one, safety and security. An increase in crime, especially looting, could be observed due to reduced surveillance, non-functioning alarm system, and dark streets.
15. You ain't got no security, no walkie-talkies. Guess what's going to go up? Crime. Second address 15.
Again, this civil unrest happened during COVID just a few years ago. Dependency on backup power. Entities with backup generators would need to rely on them, but fuel could run out if there's no quick resolution to the crisis. Next, cooling and heating. Depending on the season, lack of electricity could result in the inability to heat homes in winter or cool them in the summer, posing health risks to vulnerable populations. Next, environmental concerns. In some cases, power outages could lead to uncontrolled releases from industrial sites affecting air and water quality. Next, long-term impact. If the attack damages critical infrastructure components, it could take weeks or even months to repair, especially if custom components are required. Social implications. A long-term outage could lead to social unrest, decreased trust in government and institutions, and psychological impacts due to the stress of prolonged disruption.
Second address 15.
By the way, social implications. Have we experienced this?
That's pretty much it. I'll get a precept real quick, and then we can end it on whatever the Zaquan got. But again, this is something else that's coming to America. Blackouts, man. I'm gonna get this real quick. This is second Esdras 15 and verse 9. This is literally going into the time we living in. It says, second Esdras 15:5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. The Lord had enough. Just like in the time of the flood, he had enough, so he brought a great destruction. He's saying right here, I had enough. So now I got to judge the world. And when he begin to judge the world, he go judge Egypt 2.0. I'm going to jump down right here. Verse 10, behold, same context. Behold, my people was led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. And what's the modern day Egypt? America. It ain't talking about the ancient Egypt. Esdras was well after the ancient Egypt. So the Lord talking about he ain't going to keep us in his new Egypt, Revelation 11 and 8 for no longer. So it says, I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. That's the point. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and will smite Egypt with plagues as before. Key word, as before, showing you it's talking about another Egypt. So the Lord said, I'm going to smite Egypt with plagues as before. What's one of the plagues that happened to the ancient Egypt? Let me get it real quick, and I'm going to go back if I can find it. Let's see. Here you go. This is one of the things that happened in the ancient Egypt. And the Lord said, I'm going to do that to the new Egypt as I did before. So if darkness came to the old Egypt, what can we expect for this new one in America? Darkness, man. But modern day, we call it a blackout, a grid shutdown, an EMP attack. So let's see what happened to the old Egypt. This is Exodus 10 and verse 20. Verse 21, and the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. And look, it's a time like never before. We got the example of darkness for 1, 2, and 3 days. If we in a time like never before, it might be a longer time. It says, and they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwelling. Now, I just want to get that. And we're going to Wisdom of Solomon 17, but, for the sake of time, we've been going a little minute. Because I suggest, Akim Akwat out there, go read Wisdom of Solomon 17 and 18 to give you the details on what happened during those 3 days of darkness, so you can see what was taking place. And I would advise to read it in a GNT. It said a little more plainly. It hit, right? But we see that's what happened in ancient Egypt. And I'm going to read this again as Aquan, you got it. 2nd Ezra 15 and 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and will smite Egypt with plagues as before. You see, as before. So one thing that happened to Egypt before was darkness. The same Egypt will be hit with darkness as we've been reading. It says, and will destroy all the land thereof, which tell us it's America, because America will be destroyed from top to bottom, from left to right, man. So we definitely in those times. A blackout coming, martial law coming, the MOTB coming, World War III coming, all hell breaking loose is at the door, man. Be prepared and ready. The Lord went lie when he said that at the end of the show, speak and not lie, But that's pretty much as Aquan. If you got some.
Oh, no, you can take us out.
Con. Wait, Lord willing, that this lesson was edifying. This information was edifying, and with that, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to all you Akim out there who pushing this word with all truth and sincerity, and as well as all you believers out there who believe in the gospel. And keep fighting, keep pushing. We're almost out of here. And with that, shalom. I'm throwing all these shalom to the elder Hawaii. Shalom.
Hey, shalom.
I'm throwing all these articles in the chat. Baba Kashad, check it out at your leisure. But hey,
my brother.
But keep fighting, keep pushing. Lord willing, we'll follow up next week. Shalom.
Shalom.